Hello, Marcus Guiliano here, international business author, speaker, Forbes Business Council contributor, and fellow restaurateur. Let's talk restaurants. Reading a comment here in a forum, a comment or a topic that I'm very familiar with: high labor and just lack of good qualified labor. So here's the post. We are now at $15 an hour in Alberta, assuming Alberta, Canada. Minimum wage has gone up 47% in the last 3 years. And as a newer restaurant owner, I am struggling to know what are the right changes to implement and be consistent with the rest of the industry in my area and keep my business profitable and competitive. I had to up menu prices, but I am worried about the impact of customer loyalty. Great question. Great question. So, raise your prices. I tell everybody I work with, all of my coaching clients and my own restaurant, we raise prices. You have to raise prices. What the impact of losing a customer from higher prices it's really not relevant compared to how much more you're going to make. You can do like 25% less business and still have like the same if you're upping your prices properly. So I forgot the exact study I read in some industry journal one time, but don't be afraid to charge. That's the bottom line. A lot of restaurateurs are afraid to charge. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is monitor your food costs, your labor costs. Prime costs, those two combined, should be less than 65%. If you're under 50%, you're a rock star, you're profitable. Get your staff involved in what your target food cost is and what your target labor. And one of my coaching clients one time, I can't let my staff know what my labor cost is. I'm like, how in the world do you ever expect to improve your labor? They have no idea. They're sitting there milking the clock or doing whatever. They don't know where you're supposed to be at. Post it on the wall. This week's labor, last week's labor, 33%. Target labor, 28%. When they hit target, buy them a pizza. Do something fun. Do something. Now, someone might say, well, I can't afford to buy stuff and this, that. You would if you shaved 5 points off your labor. You could afford pizza for your party for your staff once a week. This is how you have to look at it. If you took your cost of goods sold, your wine, beer, liquor, all that kind of stuff, anything you sell that you buy to sell, cost of goods. All right. If you're doing $1 million and you can shave off 1 point for cost of goods or for labor, like 1 point is 10 grand. You shave off 2 points in food costs and cost of goods and 2 points in labor, you're at 20 grand, right? 40 grand. This adds up very quickly, folks. Adds up extremely quickly. But get your staff involved so they know the target, because they have no idea. They think, hey, you're making money. Your staff. Most staff members think that you're raking it in, and that's not the case. So here's what you do. Every new staff member that comes in, and give them a refresher on this too every 6 months or a year. Throw 100 pennies in the bar and say, okay, Jim, Bob, Joanne, for every dollar that you take and sell and put into my register, how much does Marcus get to put in his pocket as profit? And you'd be astonished with what these people think. These people will start giving you like 40%. And you're like scratching your head like, man, I wished I made 40%. I wish I made 4%. And you're like, so realistically, we're in a business where we're pulling 2%, 5%, 10% to the bottom line, unless you're in these. I have friends that do restaurants that do $5, $6, $7 million that really like, okay, you got serious profit margins. You're at 4 or 5 million, you might have serious profit margins. But a lot of us are 750,000, 1 million, 1.25 million, $1.5 million. We haven't learned how to scale, or are not able to scale up to those $3, $4, $5 million numbers. So it's really tight in our organization, and our staff thinks that we're raking it in. Now, speaking of staff minimum wages, it's just what's out there. Minimum wages are rising and rising and rising constantly in every state, everywhere you look. So you have to be able to charge accordingly, manage your numbers, and the last thing is manage your staff. I might add one more thing. There's one more thing I'm going to add. Manage your staff, right? Realistically, in my state, New York, minimum wage is $10.40. I can't get a cook for $10.40 an hour. I can't get a cook for $12 an hour, $13 an hour. I can't get a decent cook. I have to pay more to get better cooks. I have to pay more to get better staff. Once you get that reputation of paying more, you will get better staff, and they will save you money. If I hired a $12 cook that burnt stuff, that I ended up having a fire in 6 weeks, that would cost me so much more to actually replace that staff member that I should have just paid somebody else, a qualified person, $15 right off the bat. I would have not wasted all that time and that money. So if you have staff members that are highly productive, you can pay them accordingly, and save money at the same time, because you're gonna pay the money. You're going to pay the money regardless, okay? Cheap. There's very seldom you get a cheaper staff member, less cost hour per staff member that is a rock star. It just doesn't happen. All the rock stars, they have jobs. All the flunkies have jobs. So there's jobs for the flunkies. We're just in a market where we need them. So you might as well pay them and get the right person. Because if you're paying them the right money, your neighbor's not. Your neighbor's not going to have that rock star. You're going to have the 2, 3, 4 rock stars in your kitchen. That's what you need to be productive and get food out and turn tables and create more revenue. Once I adopted this philosophy, I mean, my whole table turn times, everything just changed, right? So super important. Once you get staff members in, to keep coaching them and training them and keep working and following up with them. Most staff members that just get disgruntled and quit and walk out, could have been people that could have been saved with the proper coaching and follow-up meetings and sitting down and talking to them and telling them what they're doing right and that you value their work for you and stuff like that. Very simple, but a lot of us don't do it. And I'm to blame with that sometimes too. And the last thing is to stay relevant, right? If your restaurant's not relevant, it doesn't matter what you're charging or not charging. It doesn't matter what staff you have. If you're not relevant, people aren't going to come eat with you anyway. So be relevant to your market. There's a reason why those stuffy country clubs, the dining scene there is dying. Because the kids from the parents who grew up on that stuff, they don't want that anymore. The millennials and older, they don't want that kind of stuff. They want cool hip food. They want fun cocktails. They want to be able to go many places. So stay relevant with your market. So those are the tips that I recommend.